The puzzling presence of the Ningen, reportedly observed by whaling crews, murmured about by scientists, and buried in confidential documents. Some insist this is a new species, while others argue it is a phenomenon we were never meant to encounter. Meet the Ningen, a cryptic, deep-sea mystery that just might be more than myth. The Southern Ocean ranks among Earth's harshest environments, a freezing, desolate realm where exposed flesh can freeze in moments and drifting icebergs obscure what lies beneath. With no cities or permanent communities, the region hosts only research centers, military facilities, and sporadic whaling expeditions brave enough to navigate its frigid waters. It was in these perilous seas that the first alleged sightings of the Ningen were reported. Japanese whaling ships patrolling Antarctic waters began to encounter something inconceivable. What initially seemed like another distant iceberg revealed itself to be moving, not floating, but swimming. Vast in scale, some estimating over 100 feet, it defied all known categories. It wasn't a whale, nor a fish. Witnesses described a pale, humanoid figure just beneath the water's surface. Some accounts even referenced limb-like extensions breaking the surface and a haunting face. But just as quickly as it emerged, it vanished, sinking back into the ocean depths. Those who saw it were left convinced, and as the tale spread throughout Japan, the myth of the Ningen took root. Unlike many marine myths rooted in ancient lore, the Ningen story is startlingly recent. Early 2000s internet forums began filling with accounts from supposed crew members aboard Japanese government research vessels. Their tales captivated the public imagination. Yet, curiously, the Japanese authorities have never addressed these claims officially. Some theorize this silence signals that the Ningen is not mere folklore, but classified information. Speculation abounds. Some theorists believe Japanese research facilities may have stumbled upon something astonishing, and proof of it, including photographs and video evidence, may be locked away in secured archives. But what, exactly, is the Ningen? Though reports vary, recurring features include near-transparent, pale skin, immense dimensions up to 100 feet, and a shape reminiscent of a human, complete with limbs and a face. Silent and ghost-like, it glides beneath the ice, disappearing before it can be properly studied. Some suggest it could be an unrecognized whale species or a colossal manta ray, its appearance warped by water, distance, and human interpretation. Others believe it's a rare deep-sea organism, only appearing under specific environmental conditions, thus explaining its elusive nature. And then there's a more unsettling idea. Perhaps the Ningen is not an animal at all. Some unconfirmed but disturbing stories point to covert Japanese military projects in Antarctica. These narratives suggest the Ningen may be an unknown biological anomaly, so strange and unprecedented that governments may be concealing it deliberately. Others connect the creature to USOs, unidentified submerged objects, reported to zip through oceans at impossible speeds. Could the Ningen be linked to something even more extraordinary? Whether extraterrestrial in origin or Earth-based, the Ningen occupies a chilling place in modern oceanic lore. Unlike traditional mythical creatures from centuries past, the Ningen belongs to the digital age, its legend born through internet posts, blurry images, and whispers of state censorship. Could it simply be a case of mistaken identity? Some marine experts think so. Creatures like giant squid, jellyfish, and massive sleeper sharks inhabit the Southern Ocean. Under certain lighting and motion, these beings could easily be misinterpreted. Pale animals like beluga whales, with flexible bodies and bulbous heads, also resemble some descriptions, although none match the scale of the Ningen. Adding to the conspiracy, Antarctica itself is one of the most restricted zones on Earth. Treaties block private exploration, prompting speculation that something remarkable may have been uncovered. According to some, the Ningen is not merely an animal, but a life form so strange it challenges our core understanding of biology. Some even propose extraterrestrial origins, The links to USOs only deepen the mystery. Fast-moving submerged entities spotted in Antarctic waters have led some to believe the Ningen might be tied to an advanced, unknown form of life. Whether it's a relic from Earth's past or a visitor from elsewhere, one fact stands: our knowledge of the oceans is shockingly incomplete. That's the true heart of this mystery. We've mapped the moon in more detail than our own seabeds. What unknowns remain hidden in the ocean's deepest regions? The Ningen may be just one of many bizarre beings awaiting discovery. With its unsettlingly human form, it stirs something deep within us, a mix of awe and dread. Though it emerged only recently, the Ningen has become a defining sea mystery of the modern era, drawing comparisons to ancient monsters like the Loch Ness entity, the Kraken, and Megalodon. But unlike those, the Ningen teeters on the line between fiction and plausible reality. Enough credible accounts keep the conversation alive. It has inspired documentaries, anime, manga, and countless online discussions. Artists depict it as a ghostly sentinel of Antarctica, emerging to those who venture too deep. Yet the core question persists: is it real? Giants of the abyss. The scientific oddity of deep-sea gigantism. The deeper we explore the oceans, the stranger and larger its inhabitants seem to become. The Ningen may or may not be real, but it points toward a verified biological mystery: deep-sea gigantism. This phenomenon refers to the baffling trend of deep-sea creatures evolving to enormous sizes. We've all heard of giant squid, but there are also trash can-sized crabs and alien-like isopods. These massive creatures thrive in the world's darkest, coldest, and most food-deprived places. Why? Evolutionary science still doesn't have a clear answer. Some hypothesize that larger size aids survival in cold temperatures, improves energy efficiency over long distances, or deters predators. Others suggest slow growth rates and long lifespans allow creatures to reach huge proportions. Take the Japanese spider crab, for instance, a nightmarish arthropod with a 12-foot leg span. Or the colossal squid, not just big, but with enormous eyes and tentacles lined with hooks. Then there's the giant isopod, a deep ocean version of the pill bug, scuttling along like a leftover from prehistory. Paradoxically, you'd expect life in such extreme, low-resource environments to evolve toward smaller, more efficient forms. But the opposite happens. Scientists remain intrigued and puzzled by why nature breaks its own rules in the deep. The vanished fortune of the Flor del Mar. As the chronicles of the mysterious cast to slip into the endless annals of nautical legend, we now turn our gaze to another saga, one that entwines documented history, thrilling adventure, and the seductive promise of immeasurable riches. This is the account of one of the most renowned treasure ships to ever set sail, a vessel so filled with opulence and valuables that its disappearance continues to reverberate through time. Unlike the enigmatic ghost vessels that vanish without a trace, this ship's demise is a known fact. Yet, curiously, it has never been recovered. Its name, Flor del Mar. More than a mere sailing ship, the Flor del Mar stood as a proud emblem of the age of discovery. It was a seaborne stronghold transporting the looted wealth of conquest and represented a cornerstone of Portugal's expanding overseas dominance. When it went down near the shores of Sumatra in 1511, it carried with it what is believed to be one of the most immense hoards of treasure ever gathered. So extraordinary was this collection of riches that it continues to tempt fortune seekers to this day. But what befell the Flor del Mar? And how has such a phenomenal trove remained unrecovered for over 5 centuries? Let's travel back to the moment that would cement the ship's place among the most legendary wrecks in maritime history. Portugal led this maritime transformation thanks to superior shipbuilding, expert sailors, and strong support from its monarchy. By harnessing these strengths, Portugal forged a sprawling empire that extended from Europe to the coastlines of India, Southeast Asia, and Africa. The treasures brought back, spices, textiles, and precious minerals were the very lifeblood of European economies for generations. Central to this commercial juggernaut was a fleet of robust ships engineered for enduring voyages and hauling massive loads. Among them sailed the Flor de la Mar, a giant of its time. Launched in 1502, this Portuguese carrack tipped the scales at more than 400 tons, a floating marvel that showcased the brilliance and ambition of Portugal's naval engineers. Her sheer size made her ideal for bulk transport, but it also rendered her clumsy and unwieldy, especially in rough waters. She gained a reputation for being top-heavy and unstable, a challenge that never quite diminished her status as a pivotal asset in the kingdom's colonial exploits. She ferried essential goods and valuables between outposts and the motherland. Yet, the Flor del Mar was more than just a freighter. She was a proud assertion of Portugal's maritime supremacy. Her voyages were not only commercial missions. They were declarations of power, proof that Portugal could claim lands and command the global flow of wealth. By 1511, the ship had already completed nearly a decade at sea, a seasoned veteran of countless voyages. That year, she was assigned a mission of unmatched significance. Portuguese forces, under the leadership of the formidable Afonso de Albuquerque, had successfully captured the Sultanate of Malacca, a vibrant economic hub and a linchpin in the spice trade. This victory was monumental, solidifying Portugal's grip over Southeast Asia and opening new corridors of commerce. As a trophy of this conquest, the Flor de la Mar was loaded with treasures beyond belief, gold, gems, and relics seized from Malacca's ruling elite. The value of this cargo was overwhelming, even by today's standards. It represented more than just monetary worth. It symbolized the empire's expanding influence. The plan was to deliver this treasure to King Manuel I in Lisbon, a grand offering meant to affirm his authority and glorify Portugal's expanding reach. For Albuquerque, the journey meant more than a delivery. It was a bid to immortalize his name in the annals of history. But the sea had other intentions. When the Flor de la Mar set sail from Malacca in November 1511, her orders were clear: transport the loot of war back to Portugal. But she had never been so heavily burdened. Gold, silver, pearls, and ornaments filled her hull. Alongside these riches were irreplaceable artifacts from Malacca's palace, meticulously packed for the journey. It was a fortune immense enough to finance military campaigns, construct royal palaces, or alter Europe's political landscape. The ship also carried Afonso de Albuquerque and a small group of loyal men, exhausted yet victorious. For Albuquerque, this voyage home was the culmination of his triumphs. As the ship entered the Strait of Malacca, he likely believed that he was nearing the triumphant end of an illustrious chapter. However, the Strait of Malacca is among the world's most dangerous waterways. Even today, it is infamous for its unpredictable currents, shifting underwater sandbanks, and violent storms. In the 1500s, the challenge was even more formidable, especially for a top-heavy vessel like the Flor de la Mar. Her size, beneficial for cargo, was a liability in confined or shallow waters. Initially, the journey seemed promising. The weather held steady, and the ship advanced without trouble. But as they neared the Sumatran coast, the skies darkened. A ferocious storm struck, bringing furious winds and pounding rain. Albuquerque and his men had survived storms before, but this time, the odds were stacked against them. The storm's violence, paired with the overloaded condition of the ship, created a deadly combination. As the sea raged and the waves swelled, the Flor del Mar fought to stay on course. The crew worked frantically, adjusting sails, steering desperately, battling nature. But the storm proved too powerful. The vessel was shoved off its intended path, her massive hull vulnerable against the merciless ocean. Late on the night of November 20th, disaster unfolded. The ship struck a reef. Her hull cracked apart on the sharp rocks. Water gushed into the hold. The precious cargo, so carefully stowed, was now in peril. Crew members attempted to salvage what they could, but the damage was irreversible. The ship was sinking fast. The treasures on board were swallowed by the sea. Albuquerque and a small group managed to escape aboard a lifeboat, eventually reaching the Sumatran shore. Most of the crew, however, perished, and the treasure, millions in gold and jewels, vanished beneath the waves. When dawn broke and the storm had passed, the Flor del Mar was no more. The ocean had claimed her. Her loss marked a tremendous blow to Portugal. The treasure never made it to Lisbon, and the wreck became one of the most prized yet elusive targets in naval lore. To this day, the exact site of her sinking remains unknown. Despite exhaustive efforts over centuries, the Flor del Mar has never been recovered. Her final voyage is a tale woven from ambition and tragedy. It serves as a stark reminder that even the mightiest empires are vulnerable to nature's wrath. But it is also a mystery, an unsolved riddle that continues to spark the imaginations of explorers, historians, and treasure seekers alike. What became of the treasure? Could it still be lying undisturbed beneath the sea? The ship's loss sparked countless theories and centuries of speculation. Though she sank in 1511, the fate of her treasure remains uncertain. Some experts suggest that the Flor del Mar may have broken apart as she sank, scattering her contents. Over time, these items could have been buried by sediment or swept away by strong underwater currents. This might explain why no solid evidence of the ship or her cargo has been discovered. Another possibility is that fragments of the treasure were recovered in the aftermath. Local divers and fishermen, well acquainted with the waters, might have located pieces of the wreck and quietly taken them. If this occurred, some of the riches might now be sitting in secret collections or sold off in the illegal antiquities market, vanishing without trace or documentation. Still, other theories point to Portuguese officials or competing colonial powers. The early 1500s were a time of fierce European rivalry, and some speculate that the treasure might have been covertly recovered and repurposed for political or military use. Although no definitive proof supports this idea, it adds another layer of intrigue to an already compelling mystery. Modern-day treasure hunters have introduced advanced tools to the search. Technologies like sonar mapping, underwater drones, and satellite scans allow deeper and more precise exploration. Several expeditions have claimed they are close, reporting unusual seafloor findings that may hint at a wreck. However, visibility is poor, currents are strong, and the area is littered with sunken ships. These obstacles have made the hunt exceedingly difficult. Some even believe the Flor del Mar is cursed, protected by a supernatural force that ensures its riches remain hidden forever. Though unsupported by science, such theories highlight the mythical aura the ship has acquired over the years. The saga of the Flor del Mar is far more than a tale of sunken gold. It captures a defining moment in world history, a time when nations raced to conquer oceans and build global empires. Her sinking was a bitter loss for Portugal, but also a timeless lesson in the peril of hubris. For modern treasure hunters, the ship remains the ultimate challenge. Her cargo is thought to be the greatest fortune ever lost at sea. Finding her would be an unparalleled feat, an accomplishment for the ages. The ongoing search has also contributed to advancements in underwater archaeology and deep-sea technology. Even though the Flor del Mar has not been found, efforts to locate her have revealed new knowledge about ocean exploration and the history of seafaring. Culturally, her story has become a symbol of ambition, wonder, and the eternal lure of the unknown. It reminds us that the ocean, with all its beauty and chaos, remains one of the last true frontiers. The legacy of the Flor del Mar endures, a symbol of glory and ruin, of humanity's highest aspirations and deepest defeats. In recent years, her legend has inspired books, documentaries, and movies, keeping her memory alive for new generations. The haunting puzzle of the CAS-2 Catamaran. As the legends of ghostly submarines fade into maritime lore, we turn our attention to a chillingly real and recent enigma, a modern-day mystery not of warfare or hidden technologies, but of a silent, drifting vessel found without its crew. This is not a relic of distant history, but a haunting tale much closer to our time and place. This is the unsettling account of the CAS-2, a 9.8-meter catamaran discovered eerily empty off the coast of Australia in 2007. Dubbed by many as Australia's Mary Celeste, the story of the CAS-2 has baffled professionals and amateur detectives alike. How could three seasoned men disappear without a trace from a seaworthy, well-equipped boat under ideal weather conditions? Let us now unravel the baffling events surrounding the CAS-2, a vessel not intended for worldwide headlines, but rather built for leisure and coastal exploration. This 9.8-meter catamaran, designed for ease and comfort, was a common sight on the serene Australian seas. Owned by Derek Batten, 56, the boat represented his lifelong dream of sailing along the country's spectacular coastline. In April 2007, Derek embarked on what should have been a pleasant voyage. He was accompanied by his close friends and brothers, Peter and James Tunstead. Derek brought with him years of maritime experience, while the Tunstead brothers, though less seasoned, were familiar with the ocean. Their plan was straightforward: sail from Chute Harbour, Queensland, to Perth on the western coast, enjoying stopovers and scenic views along the way. The voyage was not a race. It was intended to be relaxing and memorable, a time to bond and admire the raw beauty of the Great Barrier Reef and beyond. The boat was stocked with ample provisions and thoroughly checked to ensure it was sea-ready. On April 15, 2007, under clear skies and calm waters, the CAS-2 left Chute Harbour. Witnesses onshore waved to the three smiling men on the deck. Everything appeared normal. But as the boat disappeared into the horizon, it unwittingly entered the realm of unsolved maritime mysteries. 3 days later, on April 18, 2007, a helicopter flying above the Great Barrier Reef spotted the CAS-2. At first glance, the vessel appeared to be sailing as intended. However, a closer look revealed something was wrong. The boat was drifting aimlessly, its sails flapping in disarray. Maritime authorities were alerted, and a rescue team soon boarded the catamaran. What they found was eerie and confusing. The vessel was intact, with no signs of external damage or distress. The engine was running smoothly. GPS and radio equipment were functioning. Yet, the crew had vanished. News of the abandoned catamaran stunned Australia. Media dubbed it the modern Mary Celeste, referring to the 19th century ghost ship found adrift in the Atlantic under similar conditions. Both vessels were discovered intact, missing only their crews, and both left behind haunting mysteries that have yet to be solved. For the families of Derek, Peter, and James, the CAS-2's discovery brought only more anguish. Rather than closure, they were left with endless speculation. What could have transpired during the 3 days between the boat's departure and its ghostly discovery? Why would all three men leave the boat? And why did they not use any distress signals or safety gear? Investigators pored over every available clue. The GPS logs indicated that the CAS-2 traveled normally until April 16th, then began drifting erratically, even circling back on itself at times. This unusual pattern continued until it was found. One of the strongest leads was the fishing line, suggesting someone might have fallen overboard. If one of the men had indeed gone into the water, did the others jump in to save him? If so, why was no safety equipment used? Why was the life ring missing, but life jackets left behind? Weather reports for the region indicated mild and clear conditions during that period, which contradicted the possibility of a sudden storm. The torn sail might suggest an abrupt squall or rough weather, yet there was no other supporting evidence. Moreover, everything inside the cabin looked perfectly normal, indicating that the crew had not prepared to abandon the boat. This made their disappearance all the more inexplicable. Perhaps the most plausible explanation, albeit chilling, is that a sequence of small, unrelated events cascaded into a fatal situation. One man may have fallen into the water while fishing, and the others, in trying to help, may have suffered the same fate. This would account for the eerie normality aboard. The running engine, the tidy interior, the missing life ring, but untouched jackets. A slow unfolding of events, rather than a single catastrophe, may have led to their vanishing. Despite thorough investigations, no definitive answer has ever been found. The ocean, vast and secretive, has held tightly to the fate of the CAS-2's crew. This modern mystery remains unsolved, standing as a chilling reminder that even with modern equipment and communication tools, the sea can still swallow its secrets without a trace. The CAS-2, like the Mary Celeste before it, has become a fixture of maritime folklore. But unlike its 19th century counterpart, this enigma occurred in the age of GPS and satellite tracking. That such a disappearance could take place in 2007, in calm waters and on a technologically equipped boat, makes the mystery even more disturbing. To the families of Derek, Peter, and James, the CAS-2 symbolizes both personal loss and an enduring question. The boat, forever linked to their memory, underscores how swiftly the sea can shift from peaceful to perilous. Despite all efforts, not a single clue has brought closure. For those left behind, the mystery continues to echo across the tides. The CAS-2 serves as a stark caution to modern sailors and seafarers. The sea demands respect and vigilance. It highlights that even the most well-prepared and capable mariners are not immune to its unpredictable power. The pristine, orderly state of the CAS-2, fully functional yet ghostly empty, emphasizes how easily safety can blur into peril. In the years since its discovery, the CAS-2 has fascinated the public. Documentaries, books, and theories abound, but none have unlocked the truth. Could modern technologies finally resolve the puzzle? Advances in underwater drones and sonar mapping might one day reveal what has remained hidden for so long. Analyzing archived GPS and weather data with contemporary tools may uncover missed patterns or anomalies. Until then, the CAS-2 remains a ghostly riddle floating through the annals of maritime history. A vessel adrift in both sea and story, its crew gone, its mystery unsolved. The enigma of the Dragon's Triangle. As we move on from the account of the Flor de Mar and its fabled treasure lost in the ever-shifting currents of time, our focus now turns to a broader nautical mystery. This time, it's not just a single vessel or a mythic fortune. It's an entire expanse of ocean that has confounded mariners, researchers, and chroniclers for generations. In this area, vessels have vanished mysteriously, navigational instruments malfunction without reason, and unexplained sights and sounds defy logic. Is it the result of geological turbulence, magnetic oddities, or something beyond scientific understanding? As we delve into the past of the Devil's Sea, we will uncover narratives that seem far-fetched, yet are grounded in documented occurrences. Let us journey into one of the ocean's most mystifying regions, the Dragon's Triangle. Ancient Japanese folklore speaks of supernatural peril in these waters. Myths tell of monstrous dragons emerging from the depths to consume ships and their crews, leaving behind only disturbed waters and unsettling silence. Fishermen recounted bone-chilling experiences of boats sailing into the region and never returning. Historical sea charts often marked this location with ominous warnings, advising sailors to steer clear. These myths, although steeped in fantasy, likely served as cautionary tales to emphasize the real dangers of navigating this volatile part of the ocean. Part of the region's danger stems from its geographic position. Situated along the Pacific Ring of Fire, this area experiences frequent tectonic activity, earthquakes, undersea tremors, and volcanic eruptions are common. Sudden storms, massive waves, and unpredictable sea currents make navigation challenging, even with today's advanced technology. Yet what truly sets the Devil's Sea apart is the frequency of reports involving surreal and seemingly paranormal occurrences. Ships report erratic compass readings, floating lights, and moments of complete silence that defy the ambient noise of the sea. These accounts have long stirred curiosity and wonder. By the 1950s, the Devil's Sea had captured international interest. Its notoriety peaked when several unexplained disappearances occurred, prompting widespread concern. Among the most notable was the vanishing of the research ship Maru No. 5, a Japanese government vessel sent to investigate these oddities. The disappearance of this very ship, assigned to explore the dangers, only solidified the area's reputation as one of the most perilous marine zones in the world. In 1952, Japan launched a formal investigation into the anomalies reported in the Devil's Sea. Growing alarm among commercial shippers, fishermen, and military officials spurred this initiative. Vessels had been disappearing without clues, and survivors from near misses spoke of inexplicable mechanical breakdowns and luminous orbs in the sky. To uncover the truth, authorities deployed the Maru No. 5, a modern research ship equipped with the latest instruments to monitor seismic activity, magnetic fields, and underwater currents. Its crew included experienced mariners and accomplished scientists determined to shed light on the mystery. The mission carried national significance. It wasn't just a scientific quest, but a statement to restore belief in the safety of Japanese waters. Initially, all went smoothly. The ship transmitted routine reports, recording its progress and findings. But as it journeyed deeper into the heart of the triangle, something went terribly wrong. On September 24, 1952, communication with the vessel abruptly ceased. Repeated attempts to reach the ship by radio failed. Hope lingered that the equipment had merely malfunctioned, a frequent issue in a region notorious for electromagnetic disturbances. But as time passed with no contact, optimism gave way to dread. A large-scale search was initiated. Japanese naval forces and aircraft scoured the zone in a massive operation. Eventually, fragments of wreckage were discovered floating in the sea, confirmation of tragedy. However, no bodies were found, and the main portion of the ship was never recovered. The loss of Maru No. 5 was a national calamity. Theories abounded. Some suspected a volcanic eruption or underwater earthquake. Others blamed a rogue wave. But some proposed otherworldly explanations, suggesting encounters with unidentified flying objects or sea creatures beyond current understanding. For Japan, the disaster marked the end of government-led studies in the region. The Devil's Sea was declared a hazardous zone, and maritime activity was restricted. One of the earliest and most dramatic incidents linked to this area dates back to the 13th century. During his efforts to conquer Japan, Mongol ruler Kublai Khan, grandson of Genghis Khan, launched invasions in 1274 and again in 1281. Each involved thousands of ships and soldiers. The second expedition, in particular, was immense, around 4,000 vessels. But disaster struck both times. Historical accounts describe typhoons annihilating the fleet as it sailed through waters now called the Devil's Sea. Thousands of men perished. The Japanese called the storms kamikaze, or divine wind, believing they had been protected by spiritual forces. While typhoons are accepted as the likely cause, some researchers believe the sea's harsh currents, shifting weather, and tectonic instability played a major role. The destruction of Kublai Khan's navy is among the most significant maritime tragedies ever recorded, and a prominent part of the Devil's Sea legend. As Japan's economy grew in the mid-1900s, so did its fishing industry, and thus, activity in the Devil's Sea increased. But between 1949 and 1953, at least 9 fishing boats vanished here. No debris, no survivors. This sparked national panic, ultimately prompting the doomed Maru mission. Though these fishing boats were small and fragile, The frequency and suddenness of the losses raise questions. Survivors of close calls described bizarre weather shifts, inexplicable lights, and malfunctioning compasses. These eerie testimonials added weight to the region's paranormal reputation. World War II brought further mystery. The Pacific was a battleground, and the Devil's Sea saw its share of combat. However, even beyond wartime losses, some incidents defied logic. Naval records noted vessels reporting strange magnetic disturbances. One warship, for instance, allegedly became so disoriented it circled aimlessly and returned to its departure point. In another case, an Allied carrier intercepted an unidentified signal, which then vanished without a trace. Such stories, though hard to confirm, bolster the notion that the region possesses forces beyond technological understanding. Another case involved the Shinyomaru, a Japanese freighter that disappeared in the early 20th century while crossing the area. It vanished without a mayday call, leaving no debris. Reports claim the ship carried rare artifacts, leading to speculation of pirate interference or smuggling. Others suspect a freak storm or wave. Regardless, the mystery remains unresolved. The Devil's Sea isn't only infamous for sea-based disappearances. Aircraft have also vanished above its waters. Pilots have reported sudden turbulence, bright lights, and interference with communication devices. One such incident took place in the 1940s when a Japanese reconnaissance plane disappeared during a routine patrol. The last radio contact was garbled and unclear, hinting at something out of the ordinary. Despite extensive searches, nothing was ever found. The Devil's Sea continues to stand as one of the ocean's most chilling and perplexing mysteries.